Hello and welcome back to the Arcane Forge. My name's Josh, and today I thought I would cover a commission corner, a commissioned illustration, and I'd talk about the design choices that went into it, the character's backstory, and how myself and the person who commissioned this illustration ended up arriving at the final result. I'm sorry for not greeting you in person. Usually I would be recording myself, giving you a little wave and thanking you for joining me. Don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful that you're here, so thank you so much for watching. But we're having a bit of a chaotic week here at the Arcane Forge household. Some home improvement stuff has been going on, and I'm absolutely covered from head to toe in wood stain and varnish. I've had a lot of baths and showers, and I can't seem to remove this stuff from my skin, so hopefully by next week I'll look less like a Dalmatian, and I can say hi to you. But in the meantime, I thought it was fitting just to show you a little bit of the end result, and then we can get started with the time-lapse. So, without any further explanation, let's get started, and I can talk to you about Lorenzo, the fantastic changeling. So it's wonderful to be able to be doing more commission corners again, actually. I'd actually planned for my live stream this month to be a commission corner because I've started doing that on Patreon, basically. I was trying to find a reasonable way of allowing me to do commissions because I know a lot of you guys have wanted those, and to kind of like fit those in with the time that I actually have available to me around all the other stuff that I need to do. And what I settled on was kind of two things, really. That on Patreon I have, among the numerous things that all of my patrons get access to, is that I enter every single person into a random prize draw for a chance to have a commission of their character drawn. And also I have the kind of one-on-one sort of like maximum pledge level where we have a kind of one-on-one chat. And during that time, I can do drawing work for people as well. Now, I'd planned for my live stream to be the commission corner where I, draw someone out of a hat and I draw their character. But disaster, this is the first month that I've done it. I drew someone out of a hat. I totally at random. I messaged this person and I give everybody like a week to kind of get back to me, just so I have enough time to kind of plan and prepare and all this kind of stuff. But unfortunately, this person never got back to me and they actually deleted their Patreon after I messaged them. So I don't think we actually have a method of communicating with one another. Unfortunately, the person's name was casually a robot. Maybe they were a robot, I don't know, but we've never actually said a word to each other, and unfortunately I didn't get to draw a commission for this person, which is a real shame, but I still wanted to show the fact that I'm doing commissions now, at least through Patreon. And one of the patrons who I talk to every single month with a one-on-one chat, by the name of Ben Colburn, very kindly allowed me to record some of the sessions where we've been drawing one of his characters instead, so I thought I would show you that anyway. So thank you very much, Ben, for giving me permission to film our video chats and film the progress of your character coming to life. Now, if you're particularly astute, you may have noticed that I've mentioned Ben before. If you're racking your brain thinking, where have I heard of Ben Colburn? Ben actually is one of 3 hosts who work on a podcast called Travelers, Tips and Tales, which I was lucky enough to be a part of fairly recently. A D&D podcast. They do some actual play stuff and they also talk about D&D in general. So it's a nice mix, it's a nice balance of different topics and themes. In the episode that I was a part of, naturally being a huge fan of drawing, we talked about artwork and the importance of art and kind of visual aids and visual media in your D&D campaigns versus theatre of the mind. I think it was a really interesting discussion. I mean, it went wildly off topic, as podcasts are one to do, but I'll make sure to leave a link down below in my description box if you want to listen to that episode in particular, and I would highly recommend listening to Ben's podcast. It's a very lovely sort of casual D&D chat, but yeah, a really, really interesting episode, and I very much enjoyed being a part of it. And also, I was allowed to redesign their logo and sort of like the backdrop for their website as well. So the Travelers, Tips and Tales logo is an official production of Arcane Forge now, as it turns out. So yeah, I'll make sure to leave links of where to find them. But Spotify, in general, is where I listen to my podcasts. Anyway, I've talked a lot about the commissioner, but not about the commission itself. Today I am drawing a character by the name of Lorenzo. I asked Ben to write me a few little words about Lorenzo, because we talk a lot during our one-on-one chat about their personality, how they come across, what kind of clothes they wear and things like that. Thankfully, Ben actually had a kind of mock-up on Hero Forge for me to use as reference, and like an interesting colour palette and things like that to use for their clothes and things, which was really, really helpful. But I also asked Ben to just write a bit of fluff, a little bit of a few things here or there, so that we could get an idea of Lorenzo's personality while I have a bit of drawing here. So I thought I would have a look at what Ben sent. As a little bit of extra flavour, it's important to note that Ben's character dwells in the fantasy homebrew campaign world written by Ben's partner, and this mystical, bizarre, chaotic, terrifying and dystopian wasteland of a planet goes by the name of Florida. Yep, absolutely, Florida, just like the real world Florida. It's dangerous and full of alligators. So let's hear what Lorenzo, survivor of the Floridian wasteland, is like. According to Ben, Lorenzo was originally born in a country called Japano, which is ruled by a purple dragon. The dragon keeps the country safe from outsiders, but demands human sacrifices to keep it sated. The entire country's population has been turned into slaves to serve this purpose. Lorenzo was born a changeling to a human mother, so he has absolutely no idea who his father is. He lives in hiding with his mother, so that he wouldn't be enslaved by the local population, until that is one day when he turned about 7 years old. His mother was dragged off to be sacrificed. Lorenzo then used his changeling powers to sneak aboard a ship and escape Japano. After that, he was an orphan, living on the streets for a long time, stealing food and then shifting shape so that no one could find him. Until that is, a bounty hunter took him in and trained him until he was in his early 20s. Unfortunately, Lorenzo figured out that putting criminals in prison in this dystopian hellscape only resulted in them eventually getting out again, that the victims and their families would then pay a high price for these people to be killed. So he started taking on assassination contracts. They were only criminals at first, but it's a slippery, slippery slope. His mentor disowned him, as Lorenzo's behaviour went against everything that he had taught him. So perhaps to spite his mentor, or to remind him perhaps of how he should be behaving, Lorenzo took on his mentor's face and lived under the pseudonym Indigo so as to continue his work. After that, he got contracted to assassinate the king of a foreign land and blame it on the queen so that the princess of this land could take power. Lorenzo saw this as a golden opportunity to begin a devious and world-ending plan, so he naturally took that path. He snuck into the castle all the way to the top and used a poison known as Midnight Tears to poison the king, after which he left, never revealing his true face. At the stroke of midnight, the king was dead, and the queen was the only one left with him that night. But now that he's killed a major political figure, he has a devious idea. Using assassination, lies, and trickery, he would attempt to orchestrate a world war in order to bring Japano to its knees, so that he can finally kill the dragon responsible for his mother's death. What an absolutely brutal character. In terms of Lorenzo's physical description, I was told that Lorenzo almost never reveals his true face, and that Lorenzo's party members may not even actually know that he is a changeling, at least not in character. He lives in Florida, very much inspired by the Wild West, so he wears this kind of long, duster-like coat, which went through a few revisions here or there regarding its length. He wears this bright yellow colour you can see from the Hero Forge figurine, cowboy boots, little cowboy hat and so on, and goggles to completely obscure his appearance when not shapeshifted. I'm guessing as a reference to Japano. He carries a katana sword to do his assassinations. And I was told as well, despite his definitely massively evil plan to start a world war, his love and skill with assassinating people, he does have a gentle side, and that is that very, very fat cats, not the political kind of fat cat, but the literal chunky little tabbies, have a bit of an affinity for this character. So I decided that in the end I would draw a little chunky cat at the bottom of this character. And while I did kind of forget to film the very, very end of this, unfortunately, I thought I would also include in the background of this character a little bit of Florida, this mysterious and tumultuous world that Lorenzo lives on, with a few nice textures in the background. Because Ben didn't want Lorenzo doing any particular action shots, just wanted a kind of like nice casual standing image here. So I thought it needed a little bit of stuff going on in the background just to kind of make it a bit more of a complete piece. And unfortunately with a mostly grey colour palette, it's quite kind of hard to actually make this character sort of stand out and be, a whole image of being purely visually interesting. The character's interesting for sure, but it's hard to kind of get that across sometimes. But I'm pleased with what I came up with in the end, and thankfully Ben seems to be as well. So yeah, Lorenzo the Changeling. I'm looking forward to next month where Ben and I can chat again and I can hear more about the absolutely bizarre adventures of the world of Florida and see how far Lorenzo has got towards starting this diabolical world war. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope your own campaigns are going fantastically. I look forward to one day hopefully getting the chance to draw your character up here, making a commission corner of them. So if that sounds like something you'd like to do, I'd urge you to head over to my Patreon page, because everyone gets the same chance of getting to be one of my commission corners, and there are also a few spots available left. I just added a few extra spots at the very, very top pledge level, so we can chip away at drawing one of your characters over the months. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me here to see Lorenzo unfold. Make sure to check out Ben's podcast as well, Traveller's Tips and Tales. As I say, I'll leave a link to that down in my description box for the episode that I appeared in, and hopefully you can check out the rest of their podcast as well. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful adventure in your campaign, and happy monster hunting.